How does one reconcile the existence of extreme poverty in the world's wealthiest nation? This is a question that has puzzled many for decades, pointing to an irony that sits at the heart of the American dream. Welcome to the paradox of wealth and poverty in America, a nation known for its skyscrapers stretching towards the heavens, a testament to human achievement, and yet a country where millions still grapple with the harsh realities of poverty. America, the land of opportunity, where the promise of prosperity and the pursuit of happiness are woven into the fabric of its national identity, is also a nation where the stark contrast between the haves and the have-nots is glaringly evident. On one hand, we see the immense wealth, the glittering cities, the booming stock markets, the sprawling mansions and the luxury cars. It's a land where billionaires are made, where innovation thrives, and where dreams are turned into reality. But on the other hand, we see a different America, an America where families struggle to put food on the table, where individuals work multiple jobs just to stay afloat, where children go to bed hungry, and where the basic necessities of life remain out of reach for a significant portion of the population. This is a paradox that goes beyond mere irony. It's a complex issue that intertwines economics, politics, and social structures. A conundrum that challenges the very conception of the American dream. The existence of such extreme wealth alongside such profound poverty is not just an oddity. It's a symptom of deeper issues, a sign that something is fundamentally misaligned in the way wealth is distributed and opportunity is provided. But this paradox isn't just an academic curiosity, it's a lived reality for millions of Americans, a daily struggle that raises questions about fairness, justice, and equality. And while this paradox might seem insurmountable, it's also a call to action. It's a challenge that demands our attention, our compassion, and our collective effort to understand and address the root causes of this disparity. This paradox, though perplexing, is a reality that demands our attention and understanding. America boasts an unparalleled economic prowess, yet not everyone shares in this prosperity. This statement encapsulates the paradox that is America's wealth. Let's delve a little deeper into the numbers. The United States is a powerhouse when it comes to gross domestic product, or GDP. As of the last count, the nation's GDP stands at a staggering $22 trillion, making it the largest economy in the world, a position it has held for more than a century. But what does this mean for the average American? When we look at per capita income, the US ranks among the top 10 in the world. The average income for an American is around $65,000 a year. Sounds pretty good, right? It would be, if this wealth were evenly spread out. However, the distribution of wealth in America is far from equal. The richest 1% of Americans hold an astounding 30% of the total wealth. Meanwhile, the bottom 50% of Americans share a mere 2% of the nation's wealth. This stark disparity in wealth distribution means that a small fraction of the population enjoys most of the nation's riches, while a large portion of the population struggles to make ends meet. The discrepancy doesn't end there. The racial wealth gap in America is another glaring issue. The median wealth of white households is roughly 10 times that of black households and 8 times that of Hispanic households. This discrepancy is a stark reminder of the persistent inequality that continues to plague American society. This uneven distribution of wealth leads to vast disparities in opportunities, access to quality education, healthcare, and housing. It creates a society where the zip code you're born in can dictate the trajectory of your life, where the American dream of upward mobility seems increasingly elusive. The American dream, it seems, is not within reach for everyone. The prosperity that America boasts is a reality for some, but a far-off dream for many others. This is the paradox of America's wealth, a paradox that needs addressing if we want to see a future where prosperity is a reality for all. While some bask in opulence, others struggle to make ends meet. In the land of dreams and possibilities, it's a jarring reality that there are millions who live in the shadows of prosperity, grappling with the harsh reality of poverty. Let's put this into perspective. In 2022, the poverty rate in the United States was approximately 14%, meaning that around 45 million people were living in conditions of poverty. This isn't a faceless statistic. It's children, parents, friends, neighbors. It's people who, despite working tirelessly, remain trapped in the cycle of poverty. And this isn't evenly distributed across the population. Certain demographic groups bear a disproportionate burden. African Americans, Latinos, and Native Americans have consistently higher rates of poverty compared to their white counterparts. Single mothers and their children are also significantly more likely to live in poverty. But poverty is more than just a lack of money. It's a complex web of disadvantages that can impact every aspect of life. Health is one such area. Those living in poverty often have less access to quality healthcare and are more likely to suffer from chronic illnesses. It's a tragic paradox that those who can least afford to be sick are those most likely to fall ill. Education is another arena where poverty leaves its mark. Children growing up in impoverished households are less likely to have access to quality education, setting them on a trajectory of limited opportunities. They're less likely to graduate from high school, less likely to attend college, and more likely to remain in poverty as adults. And opportunities? Well, they are often few and far between for those living in poverty. They face barriers to employment, barriers to affordable housing, barriers to a better life. It's a cycle that's hard to break, a cycle that perpetuates across generations. The stark reality is that poverty is not an abstract concept, but a daily struggle for millions. Poverty is not a phenomenon that just happens. It is a result of systemic issues. In our exploration of poverty in America, it's vital to understand that poverty is not a product of individual failings, but rather, it's the outcome of a series of deeply rooted systemic problems. Let's discuss some of these key causes. Firstly, lack of education is a significant factor. Education is often seen as the ladder out of poverty, but for many, this ladder is out of reach. It's a catch-22 situation. Those in poverty struggle to access quality education, and without it, they remain trapped in the cycle of poverty. Next is unemployment. It's a straightforward equation: no job equals no income. And without income, meeting basic needs becomes a challenge, let alone escaping poverty. Closely tied to unemployment is wage inequality. Even when jobs are available, they often don't pay enough to lift people out of poverty. The minimum wage has not kept pace with inflation, and many working individuals are still classified as poor. This phenomenon, known as working poverty, highlights the stark inequality in wages. Lastly, but certainly not least, is systemic discrimination. This is a multifaceted issue, encompassing racial, gender, and class discrimination. These types of discrimination can limit access to quality education, decent jobs, and fair wages, all leading to higher rates of poverty among marginalized groups. But here's the thing. These causes are not standalone issues. They are interconnected, each one feeding into the other, creating a complex web that traps people in poverty. For instance, lack of education can lead to unemployment, which in turn can lead to wage inequality. And systemic discrimination can exacerbate all these issues. Addressing poverty, therefore, is not as simple as providing jobs or increasing wages. It requires a multifaceted approach that tackles these root causes head-on. It requires us to challenge the systems and structures that perpetuate poverty. Understanding the causes of poverty is the first step towards creating solutions. We must address these systemic issues if we want to see a significant reduction in poverty. It's a big task, but one that is necessary if we want to build a more equitable society. Eradicating poverty is not an insurmountable task, but it requires collective effort and systemic change. Let's start with policy changes. The government plays a vital role in shaping the economic landscape. By implementing policies that promote fair wages, job security, and access to affordable healthcare and housing, we can create an environment that supports upward mobility for all. A shining example is the Earned Income Tax Credit, a policy that has successfully lifted millions out of poverty by supplementing the income of low-wage workers. Next, we turn to social programs. These are crucial safety nets that provide immediate relief to those in need. Food assistance programs, housing vouchers, and unemployment benefits, these all help individuals and families weather the storm of financial hardship. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, is a testament to the impact of such initiatives, having reduced the poverty rate by nearly 10% in the past decade. Community initiatives also play a pivotal role. From local food banks to job training centers, these grassroots efforts are often the first line of defense against poverty. They not only provide immediate help, but also foster a sense of community solidarity. Take, for instance, the success story of Circles USA, a community initiative that has empowered thousands to break the cycle of poverty through education and peer support. But we must remember, these solutions are not one-size-fits-all. Different communities have unique needs and challenges. Therefore, our approach must be multifaceted and adaptable, always ready to meet these changing needs. It's also essential to keep the conversation about poverty alive. Advocacy is a powerful tool that can influence policy, drive social change, and challenge the status quo. By raising awareness and fighting for justice, we can ensure that poverty is not an overlooked issue, but a priority that demands action. Poverty in America is a paradox, but it is one that we have the power to resolve. We have the tools, the examples, and the potential to make a significant difference. Let's continue to push for change, because every step taken towards eradicating poverty is a step towards a more equitable society.